You're watching ATV in colour, coming up at 7:30. Regional opt-out to be confirmed. But first, Dr. Macclevoid's here, and he's still at the movies. Tonight, well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell.
But I've been seen with Farrah. I've never been with anything less than a man so fine. I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone past with a girl named Bo. But somehow they just don't end up as mine. It's a death-defying life I lead. I take my chances. I die for living in the movies and TV. But the hardest thing I ever do is watch my leading ladies kiss some other guy while I'm bandaging my knee. I might fall from a tall building, I might roll a brand new car, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman, made right for such a star.
The Fall Guys end credits give us a sort of retooled version of that country-themed, folksy song that opened episodes of the 80s TV series. But if you were listening intently, as I know you tend to do, you'll have noticed that there were references in the song to stars of a certain era. Bo Derek, Farrah Fawcett, Robert Redford, Clint Eastwood. Been on fire with Sally Field. I mean, who the fuck's Sally Field?
This means so much more to me this time. I don't know why. I think the first time I hardly felt it because it was all so new. But I want to say thank you to you. I haven't had an orthodox career, and I've wanted more than anything to have your respect. The first time I didn't feel it, but this time I feel it, and I can't deny the fact that you like me. Right now, you like me.
You see, there was a time, ladies and genitals, when Hollywood was a place driven by star power, personalities. And the theme tune of The Fall Guy being a show that was Hollywood adjacent, about a Hollywood stuntman who had a private life as a bounty hunter, because, you know, it's one thing making Eastwood such a star, but you want excitement of your own, real risk, real life-threatening danger. And that's what Colt Seavers did. He went and he faced real peril, which gave the series a sort of metatextual dimension. It allowed us to have things both ways. The Hollywood stunts and an everyman character we could all relate to at the same time. So the theme had all of these references because it was about a certain era. That late 70s, early 80s period where star power still drove the Hollywood machine. People still showed up to movies to see who was in them. They took a chance on something, even if they didn't know anything about it, because, it's got Michael Caine, it's got Clint Eastwood, it's got Jack Nicholson, etc., etc., etc. In the movie version of this song, all of that detail has been washed away and replaced with a sort of platitude about wanting to get straight to your heart or something like that. And the producers of the remake of The Fall Guy really didn't have any choice, did they, but to remove those references, because it's set in contemporary Hollywood, and who would know who these people are? But that whitewashing of the song, if you like, that change, that cultural tweak, is a very good shorthand for the movie entire. Because it's a reminder that in modern Hollywood, we don't go and see movies anymore because of who's in them. This is an attempt at a star-driven vehicle. Oh, it's Ryan Gosling, it's Emily Blunt. We like them, don't we? But, as the movie's early box office seems to indicate, we still haven't got back in the habit of going to see movies just because of who's in them. I like Ryan Gosling. I think he's very likeable, very charismatic.
I never forget a fist.
He would have made a great movie star in the 80s. But in the 2020s, the poor sod can't open a movie. Because he's not playing a character in an established IP. And that's because Hollywood have trained what's left of their audience to only go and see things if it's a property or a character they recognise. And unfortunately, Colt Seavers is not in that pantheon of characters that make people vault over their sofas out the door and make a beeline for the local multiplex. There's no Fall Guy comic. There's no Fall Guy franchise. There is only that Glenn A. Larson television series of yesteryear, which, let's be honest, wasn't built to last. It's a wonderful show of an era. Very entertaining, very enjoyable TV series. But not one that anybody really expected to be talking about in 2024. And by the look of it, we won't be talking about it for very long because the movie's business is effectively already done after its opening weekend. It will fizzle out to nothing. Is that fair? No. Well, you could argue that it's justice because of the priorities that Hollywood now champions. We have flipped, haven't we? From a situation 30 or 40 years ago where television, on the whole, and this is a generalisation, don't write to me for God's sake pointing out your favourite highbrow television series from the era. This is a general observation that TV, for the most part, was considered to be lowbrow, high concept, lowbrow crud. The kind of experimental ground where you could get away with all sorts of, half-baked nonsense, and who cares? It's just a TV show. Movies still at that time had a cachet. Movies are still art, aren't they? 40 years ago. Or considered to be artistic. They're greater spectacles, bigger budgets, with the best talent. And that differentiates the experience of going to the movies with the bigger budget and the artistry and the A-list talent from sitting at home watching the fucking facts of life. That's the differentiation. But what's happened is that over the last 10 years in particular, particularly with the advent of streaming, we've moved to a situation, haven't we, where all of the old shit that we used to watch on TV is now being adapted for the movies. Because it's nostalgia, it's recognition, it's an attempt at creating new IP, intellectual property, which is hilarious in a way, because there's nothing intellectual about most of it. What used to be considered early Saturday night filler on the box is now being repackaged as blockbuster entertainment. This would have been unthinkable 40 years ago, for the most part. You adapted novels, you didn't adapt the fucking A-Team. The A-Team's not a movie. The Fall Guy's not a movie. Even Battlestar Galactica, which was very impressively mounted, is still considered to be a TV rip-off of Star Wars. Well, surely one day we're going to get a Battlestar Galactica movie, and then we'll have come full circle. So the hierarchy has changed. On television, that's where you find long-form experimental storytelling. And that's where increasingly you find the bulk of the talent. Because people still are interested in original stories on television. And there's still a chance to forge popular new characters on television. But the space to do that in the multiplex seems to have shrunk quite considerably. So we have a situation, as we do with The Fall Guy, where a movie that has been tailored to be a popular vehicle for a popular guy, Ryan Gosling, falls on its arse. Because no one's interested in The Fall Guy, and they're not interested enough in Ryan Gosling to go and see it. Is that fair? Well, partially fair, yes.
No offence.
I mean, some taken.
This review continues after the break.
Our name is August Christopher. You know hot and fast. You know knowledge.
In a world of global intrigue,
This woman has discovered something that will revolutionize the world. Steal it for me.
trust no one,
I like this guy. To then we have to kill him.
suspect everyone,
Who are you anyway?
but believe in one man.
If you want to live, leave my side.
The Saint, rated PG-13. Starts Friday, April 4th, everywhere. Here and now, National Gyro Bank, the king-size bank. Here at the post office. Convenient and friendly. With more than 20,000 branches throughout the land. Where your money becomes a bank account. A powerful bank account. With the power and freedom of your own checkbook. National Gyro Bank, where banking can be free. Pick up a leaflet at your post office and apply for your bank account.
Hello, I'm Victor Kayam. I used to be a dedicated wet shaver till my wife bought me this Remington M3 electric shaver. They said it's two incredibly thin, flexible microscreens would shave as close as a blade, or they'd give her her money back. I was delighted and impressed. So impressed, I bought the company. The Remington microscreen will cost you only a little. The company cost me considerably more. The Remington microscreen shaves as close as a blade, or now, I'll give you your money back.
What is it about him? His looks? His personality? He's successful, and he certainly cares about his appearance. Nice smile, but domineering sometimes. I don't know what it is about him.
Sensual, long-lasting mandate. Worn by men, loved by women. Go beyond all you know.
No, Major, the question is, when are we?
And all you fear.
Your pay has just begun.
Time to die. To discover a new universe of adventure.
Rock and roll.
Lost in space. Rated PG-15. Starts Friday.
The Fall Guy is a sort of self-referential love story, and it's punctuated by action. Not great action, but action of above average quality. The leads are sexy and fun, but the script has to reconcile these simple pleasures of a love story in action with postmodernism's propensity to build a lesser thing from old cuts. So the story incorporates a character that quotes liberally from old movies. That's his function. To remind you of all the stuff that the film's pointing to, when it's not creating its own memorable lines, its own memorable iconography. Digital filmmaking, with its sort of inorganic and uncanny qualities incorporated into the plot. There's a gentle swipe at the Marvel tendency to employ women, first-time directors who are considered to be pliable because of the patronising misogynist assumption that they will handle the emotional scenes between human characters that will later be dropped into the editor's timeline between hugely expensive and boring computer generated visual effects sequences. So all of that stuff is in there, as it would have to be in I suppose, if you're making a story about modern Hollywood. But the self-reflexive bit gets boring very quickly. And what you long for is a movie set in the world of movies as you remember them. The opportunity with The Fall Guy was to make a period piece, wasn't it? The Fall Guy is about Farrah Fawcett and Bo Derek and Clint Eastwood and Robert Redford and that era of filmmaking. You still go and see a movie about a guy with an orangutan as a partner because that guy is Clint Eastwood. Why not set it then? Why not Quentin Tarantino it and make it more like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? In fact, you could argue that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is sort of Tarantino's version of The Fall Guy in some respects. And boy, would Quentin Tarantino have made a better job of directing practical action than the director of Bullet Train does in this movie. So that was the opportunity, I think, with The Fall Guy, and that was the opportunity that has sadly been missed. Amongst the self-reflective elements in this movie is also references to a troubled third act. They're talking, of course, about the movie within the movie that Emily Blunt's character is directing, Metal Storm, which is a sort of bland bastard child of Mad Max and Dune. And, of course, fittingly, therefore, The Fall Guy has a troubled third act in which it can't quite focus, can't quite get its act together. And it takes 20 minutes too long to finish the film. Well, what is this? Is this a joke laid out by the filmmakers for us? Or maybe something incorporated retrospectively when they saw the edit and thought, fuck, this isn't really working. But if we make a joke of it, then the audience will think we're really clever. So ultimately, The Fall Guy is a likeable movie that would have been great had all the sort of tedious tics and tendencies of modern productions not been wearingly present. There are nuggets in the sludge. There's a few nice visual gags. As I say, some decent if unexceptional stunt work. And then there's Gosling and Blunt. They're nice to see, nice to look at, nice to listen to. But, unfortunately, you're left with a reminder, particularly in references to things like Comic-Con and Hall H and trailers cut for Comic-Con, that these days no one's making movies anymore. They're making products for an imaginary fandom. The tail is truly wagging the dog. And when the tail wags the dog, you don't get original movies, you get stuff like The Fall Guy. There's only one 80s series left to adapt, let's face it. It's my absolute favourite, so I'm hoping that Hollywood won't fuck it up.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life. There's a time you gotta go and show you grow, and now you know about the facts of life. The facts of life.
No, my other favourite. Thank you for watching this presentation. Do join us again for another Macclevoid at the movies, and in the meantime, watch responsibly.